Two things have happened since the last time we reported on the Abarth version of the Fiat 500 subcompact. One is that Fiat has made some improvements for 2015, and the other is that Cars.com pitted this car against 7 other performance versions of compact and subcompact cars in the $30,000 Cheap Speed Challenge. Let's take a look at what's new, what's good, what's bad, and how this car fared against 7 competitors. Now here's what's new for 2015. The biggest is a new instrument panel. It is a 7-inch color display replacing kind of rudimentary gauges with a lo-fi screen in the middle. So you still have the analog turbo boost gauge on the left, but you get a lot more information here in the center. It actually kind of classes up the whole interior quite a bit. Now the car also has Bluetooth standard now for streaming audio and hands-free telephone connectivity, which it didn't have before. Unfortunately, because there's no real interface, you have to pair your phone using voice commands, which is a little tedious, but it does work. Speaking of interfaces, there's no navigation option in the dashboard, but you can get instead a $600 TomTom unit that fits into the dashboard and is powered. There's also now a USB port for connecting to the stereo and another one in the glove compartment that is for charging only. Now there are a couple shortcomings of the 500 in general that can't be ignored. One is comfort. Many of our editors have complained that the bottom cushion for the driver doesn't tilt, which especially makes it hard if you have a manual transmission because your thigh is hitting the cushion, you're fighting it just to press down the clutch pedal. And the steering wheel tilts, but it doesn't telescope. So all told, not the mix that you want to get comfortable. Visibility is another thing. Sitting up high like this is actually pretty good, but there are some blind spots over the right shoulder because of the big B-pillar here, and especially when checking over your left shoulder. The 500 Abarth turns out to have a couple personalities, or at least gave us very different impressions in 2 different uses. One, on the street, we were pretty disappointed. One of the reasons is the 0 to 60 on this car in our testing was 8.8 seconds. Is that even quick? The Ford Fiesta ST, which is similar in size, did it a second faster. The Volkswagen GTI, 2 seconds faster, and the quickest one in our test, the Subaru WRX, did it in less than 6 seconds. Now the specifications actually aren't that bad for the car. If you look at the engine, it's a 1.4 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder with 160 horsepower, 170 pounds-feet of torque. Now the company says the torque peak comes at 2,500 RPM, and it just doesn't feel that way. Things don't get interesting until 3,000, 3,500 at best. The car actually has classic turbo lag, something that a lot of other manufacturers have been eradicating. I kind of feel like you need more torque at low RPM. It kind of makes this car slow off the line, especially because this one has a 5-speed manual when it really needs a 6. Braking is an area that was a little bit mixed. Overall, we like the feel of the brake pedal, the linearity, they feel strong, but unfortunately in our regimented testing, in panic stops, the car got really skittish, which is an uncomfortable feeling. Now around town, the handling is pretty good. The steering feels good. A little bit of a problem with body roll though. I have to say with the height, the short wheelbase, the narrowness, it feels a little tipsy to me. Now, I'm not saying the car is going to tip over, it's really just a feeling, which isn't great. Here's where they lose me. The turning circle is ponderously wide, almost 38 feet wide. In this version, that's 7 feet wider than the regular 500, 7 feet. So if you're in a city and you want to make a quick U-turn, this isn't the one for it. And another shortcoming for, let's say, in more enclosed environments like the city is the exhaust sound. It's very noisy, it's just overdone. Now, internet, let's be clear. It's not just me that thinks this. I work with people who are roughly half my age and they agree that it is unrelenting and farty. They could make it a little bit more acceptable for everyday use. Here's where we got our surprise. After we got off the drag strip where we did 0 to 60 in panic stops, we went on a road course and we found this to feel like a very different car. For one thing, it handled very well. Maybe some body roll, but the car had P0 Nero Pirelli tires, summer tires that had excellent grip. Didn't feel like we were going to tip over. The handling was good. If you think about it, on the track you could keep the revs high, In that case, it's a really entertaining little engine. And short of a panic stop, the brakes feel strong, confidence inspiring, even the exhaust sound. You're on a racetrack, who cares? Now, we put more emphasis on performance for the cheap speed challenge, but Cars.com always looks at the big picture, value, roominess, etc. And unfortunately, a little bit of fun on the track for the Fiat 500 Abarth wasn't enough to overcome test scores that were, at best around average. Out of 8 cars, it came in 8th. Now, if you're looking for an alternative, I'd say for a small car that's just raucous good fun, go for the Ford Fiesta ST. If you want more size, utility, refinement, efficiency, all that stuff, I would go with the Volkswagen GTI. It had some of the best numbers across the board in our test, and the one that matters most, it came in number 1.